What's up, everyone? I'm here. We got an amazing guest today. If you don't know who this guy is, you have not been watching wrestling the past 5 or so years. This is Mr. Michael Kemerer from University of Iowa, five-time All-American, now assistant coach at Brown. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just getting all settled up here and ready to commit to these guys.
Yeah, it's real awesome, that you're taking, you've been around. You're from Pennsylvania, right?
Yep,
So
Pittsburgh.
you went from Pittsburgh area to Iowa, and now to New England. So quite a bit of a change of scenery for you.
Yeah, definitely. This is one area of the country that I actually haven't been in a whole lot, but just being out here checking it out, and then now moving out here. I'm excited. I'm excited for a new place and a new start here.
Awesome. So, kind of going way back, let's talk about you for a second and, your relationship with wrestling. How did you find the sport? I imagine it was when you were very young.
Yeah. So I started wrestling. I was 4, almost 5 years old. So I was super small. I was like 40 pounds. I was like the smallest guy in the room. And basically, I had a lot of sisters. I have 4 sisters. So I just think I had a lot of energy and was probably a pain in their butt a little bit, maybe a pain in my parents' butt a little bit. And I just, my dad wrestled, his brothers wrestled. So it was one of those things where, it was just wrestling's a pretty family sport like that, and they were like, this is somewhere we can get this energy out of this kid a little bit. And so started there and liked it. I loved it a lot.
Yeah. I remember reading in one of your posts that it was either a post or an article with the interview about you, but you talked about how Iowa was always the goal, always the dream. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think it started probably like around middle school age when I first started really following college wrestling and wrestling for Young Guns and Jody Stripmatter. He had a lot of stories about Iowa, and those were the years whenever Iowa won 3 national titles in a row, and that was right when I got into it. So to me, it was like, well, my coach wrestled there. They're winning everything. I was like, I was awesome. And then I remember showing up to different like a Penn State Iowa wrestling meet, or it was in State College, and me and some of my buddies were wearing Iowa stuff just because that was what we knew, and that was what the stories we heard about, and they were on top, and it was kind of cool to be different too.
Yeah. How did it feel? How does it feel now looking back? Not many people are able to, live a dream, like you did of donning the black singlet. So how does that feel?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, it was everything that I thought it could be and more. It's such a great environment for wrestling, and it's just the culture that's there is something that's special. So getting to experience it was amazing. And it's kind of a funny thing because now being gone from Iowa, it's still, everyone you talk to is just kind of curious, what like stories in the room or whatever. There's just kind of a mystique about it, and it was cool to be a part of that, and just made a lot of good memories out there.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Do you have like a specific favorite memory that comes to mind that you could just mention real quick?
Yeah, I think I was there a long time, so there's a lot of good memories. I would say I think the dual meets, just the big dual meets, were what was really fun, like coming together, and obviously like the big ones with Penn State, but it could be Okie State, Ohio State, Iowa State started. Their team came a long way when I was there, and it was just like all those big dual meets, getting up and wrestling, back to back, and we had a tough lineup, and just kind of experiencing that and Carver together was really special. So, I mean, that's just one of the big things. I guess the other thing is just the day-to-day stuff in the room, grinding in the room, and everyone's scrapping hard, and then everyone has each other's back. It was just kind of a special brotherhood where, it was special. So it wasn't really one thing. It was just doing that every day, just really brings the group closer.
Dude, that's awesome to hear. You definitely see that family bond at Iowa, and all the big teams. Every team really, but it definitely seems pronounced there.
Yeah, it was a great place to wrestle.
And in college, when you were competing, were you doing were you like a counselor at any camps or doing clinics at all?
Yeah, I did a lot of that. So we had our Iowa wrestling camps, and that was fun. And there's different camps. There was the technique camps, the intensive camp, the elite camp. Like there were all these different camps. So we had a lot of guys, a lot of kids coming through, and we'd be like a counselor. And one of the camps, like we had our own little group. Um, so you'd have like all these guys around a certain weight class, and that would be like your team for 10 days, and you were putting them through practices and everything. And that was really cool. But I did other camps too, traveled around and um, pretty much all over the country in the off season. That was kind of a way to make money and get to do it through wrestling and also get to kind of give back. So that was cool. I got to travel a lot.
And is, doing those camps and clinics, is that when you kind of found a passion for coaching?
Yeah, I think so a little bit. That was definitely I kind of had it on my mind, and I was a business major, so I didn't know if I still wanted to do it full time and commit to it like a role like this, or if I wanted to just stay involved somehow when I was done. And then I actually spent the last year and a half. I was at Cornell with their RTC, and they have this frogs program where they call it the frogs, and it's like the gap year guys, the gray shirt guys. And being involved with that was something that also, like, I developed a relationship with these guys. You start to really care about them and know their tendencies, and it's a little bit different than a camp where it's like you're kind of in and out, whereas this was like long term, seeing the growth, and that kind of sparked my interest in it too, and kind of made me realize that that's what I want to do.
Gotcha. And so you have officially retired from competition, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what has been the hardest part of the transition from competition, wrestling on the mat, to just being in the corner of the mat?
Yeah, it's just a different challenge because everyone's wired differently. And, ultimately, like, I want to win and I really want to be successful, but it's a different means of getting there. Everything you're doing is selfless, where I think whenever you're a competitor, you kind of have to be selfish a little bit. And it sounds bad to say that, but like, it's just the way the sport is. You got to kind of take care of yourself. And so just translating everything to being more selfless and putting that effort into these guys is just something that I want to do, but it's still kind of weird sometimes, especially like you're so used to having to find a workout, get your training in, like focus on all these things for yourself. And now it's like, hey, the priority is getting these guys that stuff, not me. I go to the back burner now, which is a good feeling too, though.
And what's probably like the easiest part? Like, is it easy because you're still a young guy, you're able to move around with all these young guys and stuff, or something else?
Yeah, I think so. I think it helps being young and maybe being in college for so long around the young guys, but I feel like, I know I'm older, but I feel like I can relate to the guys well. I feel like I was just in their shoes. I think that helps. And then I'm young, I can still wrestle, get on the mat, and I think that develops a closer bond with your athletes too, whenever you can, I don't know, something about like when you're actually putting your hands on them and wrestling with them. So just all of that, I think is exciting, being a young coach.
Mm-hmm. And how did you come across Brown and get this position, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny the way things went. So Coach Lean and I have crossed paths a couple times. So he recruited me when he was at Virginia and I was in high school. And we developed a good relationship. He was recruiting Western PA hard. So we had a good relationship, and just, it didn't work out. I ended up going to Iowa, and then we just kind of crossed paths here and there, I think, through thick sense throughout college and everything. And then so Max Murin is with the RTC out here at Brown. He's in like a hybrid type role, and he is someone that I talk to pretty much every day. And I was like,
another Iowa guy.
Another Iowa guy, exactly. So we're super close, and we were roommates and everything. And I was just kind of keeping him in the loop, like, hey, I think I'm going to be done wrestling. And Jordan and I had talked a little bit before just about like the potential of coming out here. And then once I was like, hey, I'm ready to just move strictly into coaching, he was like, why don't you come out and check it out? Came out and checked it out, and I loved it. I mean, I loved the area. I loved the people. I thought there's a ton of potential for growth. I think the athletic department is invested, the school's behind it. So it just seemed like a really good opportunity, and kind of weird timing being in the middle of season, but it's like I'm on to coaching now, and I wanted to be on staff and get right into it. And we got a task ahead of us, but I feel really good about the people that are here, and the support we have, I mean, I think it's got a lot of potential, which is exciting to talk about it, but I'm excited to like get in there and do it, you know.
Yeah. And since you know, like you said, it is a weird time in the middle of the season. Have you been able to, you know, get right in there, or is there any sort of, you know, like waiting period, like when a kid transfers or something?
Yeah, there was just a little period getting things with HR all settled, and I was out at Cornell, like I said, coaching the frogs, the gray shirt guys. So during that period, I was able to kind of finish up most of their stuff because they wrestle all open tournaments. That stuff's kind of finishing up now. So it kind of worked out because I didn't want to just take the job and leave everyone hanging. You know, I wanted to kind of have some time. And so I got to keep coaching those guys and wrestling with the guys in the room and everything. And then I actually moved out, not this past week, but the week before. So, and then it just got announced, obviously. But so it was in the works for a few weeks. I mean, I kind of had decided like end December, beginning of January, but just nothing until everything's all the papers through and everything. So
No, it had to be official.
exactly. Yeah. I didn't want to jump the gun and then have to go back. That's a tough look.
So you said you know, you loved the atmosphere there, or whatever you said. Was it what was it specifically? Was it Rhode Island? Was it the school? Was it, you know, the wrestling room? Like, what stood out to you the most there?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is the people. I mean, you got Jordan, you got Ty Walls on staff now, Mickey Phillippe's here, you got TJ Dudley, and then we got Miran with the RTC, and then we got Gage Curry, who's another Pittsburgh guy. He's with our content creation. And I just feel like it's a group of people that I've interacted with all of them just kind of throughout my career. And we get along great. And I know that they want to win as bad as I want to win. We all want to win. And I think that's exciting. And it's a new challenge too. I mean, I was at Iowa, and that's established program, right? I was at Cornell with their RTC, established program, but I've never really had to do a build like this and kind of bring a program up. And the challenge excites me, and I think it excites these guys. So it was that, and then I did really like the area too. I mean, Rhode Island's cool. Was down in Newport whenever came out here, and it was pretty cool down there, and it just seems like a cool area. So it's kind of all that. Providence has a lot to do, and
You got to come out to New England this year at Providence.
they're in Providence.
Yeah, March
Yeah.
2nd and
Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah. New England wrestling it's a little bit new to me, like I said. So I'm kind of trying to get caught up. And we had a couple guys at Cornell that were from New England, so I've learned a little bit. But I gotta get behind it now.
Yeah, I mean, just in general of New England, you know, being from Pennsylvania and then living in Iowa a little bit, what do you think of the region, you know?
You mean as far as with wrestling or just in general?
Just in general.
It's definitely like older. It's an older look, but I like it. But it's just you can feel like the history, I think. Rhode Island's like a little bit more dense of a population, especially being in Iowa or being in like Ithaca. Like it's a little more going on. But I like it. I like being close to the ocean. I mean, obviously I've been out here in the winter, but I think that's super cool. I think that there's a lot of stuff close by. So the accent, I'm gonna have to pick up on the accent. I think I'm gonna have to practice my New England accent because I definitely notice it, and I'd like to I think it sounds cool, so I'd like to pick it up just enough, just a little bit.
Yeah, just so you have it.
Just so I can pull it out if I need to, look like a local.
And you know, when it comes to the wrestling here, you know, it is a fast-growing scene. You know, you said you talked to some Cornell guys about it. So what was your perception of New England wrestling before you kind of gained some knowledge about it? Like, did you even have have a thought about it?
Yeah, I knew there was like I knew there were New Englands, and I knew about like some of the big clubs, like it's like Doughboy and Smitty's, I think, are like two of the big clubs. And I remember that. I knew some Doughboy guys growing up that would come down to Pennsylvania every once in a while. But overall, I knew that, I mean, compared to a Pennsylvania or an Iowa or something, it didn't seem like the history is there as much. But at the same time, I feel like the more I follow high school wrestling, and now even following it more just because it's kind of part of the job description, it can see that there's like some of these high schools are rising and it's growing in the area. And I think that's awesome. I mean, anywhere we can continue to grow is awesome.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look at Pontiac, Rhode Island, nationally ranked with 2 Brown commits on their team.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, especially if we can, continue to grow and build and give these guys a great opportunity in New England. I mean, I think that's kind of the goal, right? That helps everybody, helps us, and helps them.
So, let's say you're in practice. What are you looking to bring from Iowa and Pennsylvania to a New England wrestling room? Like, do you think there's different styles in between the states and regions, or?
Yeah, probably a little bit. I think just those are your blue blood traditional wrestling states. So there's just I don't know. I haven't been out here long enough to say what necessarily how different it is, but I do know those states are proud of toughness is a big thing. Pittsburgh, blue collar, like it's tough, it's gritty. Iowa, same thing. But then there's also just the love of being on the mat, I think is big. And I think the more you can have that in any wrestling room, I mean, when you have kids that love to wrestle and obviously they have other things that are important to them and have balance, I think that's super important. But I think a lot of the best guys, they want to be in the wrestling room getting better, and they just love the sport for what it is. And I think that there was a lot of that in Pennsylvania, a lot of that in Iowa, and I'm sure there's a lot of it here, but it's just fostering that and making sure that kids they love working hard. They love going in there and getting better.
And so when it comes to, you on the staff at Brown, how are you going to deal with recruiting a little bit, or?
Yep, I'll be doing it all. I'll be recruiting. I'll be, in the room with training and everything. And yeah, it's all hands on deck. So I'll definitely be recruiting.
So what is it that you're going to be looking for, in a kid that you want to come to Brown?
Yeah, I mean, Brown's a special place. It's obviously an incredible academic college, and it now with the staff we have and the opportunity to continue to foster a good wrestling environment. It's just kids that want to be the best in everything they do, really. People that want to pursue excellence and have the opportunity whenever they leave this place to continue to wrestle or continue to coach, or there's the alumni and the Brown degree is incredible. So they're motivated to go that route, and whatever it is, it's a place I think that you can be successful in all areas of life. And so that's kind of what you're looking for, is guys that just they want to be around excellence, really.
Nice. So, and kind of like the last thing I want to ask you is, here in New England, we're starting our postseason at the high school level. Do you have like a special message to all the high schoolers that are, grinding this postseason, looking for that championship?
Yeah, I guess if I had a message, it would be, wrestle to score and focus on how you wrestle rather than wins and losses. I mean, if you surrender the outcome and know that if I just put my best product on the mat, then the winning will take care of itself. And I think that's something that can get lost in the postseason. So that's kind of the stuff that I look for too, is people that are just, they wrestle loose and they wrestle to score and they wrestle to be free out there, rather than trying to hold on. I love watching an exciting style and someone that wants to go take it. I'm all for that. And if it doesn't go your way, but you went and tried to go take it, then I think you can live with that as an athlete, and as a coach, it sure is fun to watch. So
yeah, definitely, man. Well, Michael, is there any other things you want to talk about or touch on?
Not too much. Just excited to continue to grow with these guys, and Brown Wrestling, we're on the rise.
Hell yeah, man.